This could actually be an interesting topic to start on. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Very happy to see you again.
Again, yes.
In a much better studio space this time. This one has walls.
Love it.
Yeah. But no, I don't ever really go into podcasts with a plan. Like, I have a couple ideas of like what I want to ask, what I want to talk about, a general, like, not a concept, but just something I'm curious about. Because that's like one of the things that I'm in my life I'm very selfish about, is like who I sit down with and who I talk to. So I don't want to sit down with people I don't give a fuck about. Or what they're doing I don't give a shit about. Because you can't be fake for longer than like, I can't lie for longer than like 5 minutes. What are you into? You know what
exhausting
I mean? Well,
to do it that way.
We've all, and not to equate it to that. We've all, even like not even a bad date. Like, we've all been hanging out with your friends, and there's that one person you don't like being around, but other people in the group like being around them. So it's like, fuck, I gotta deal with this person. And then you get left in a room alone with them, and you're like,
so
a lot of rain, huh? That's crazy. So yeah, it's one of those things. But I just have a couple like ideas and like concepts and shit like that. But
cool.
So your event is gonna come out on, it happens on a Saturday, right?
Yes.
So this will come out on Thursday.
Okay.
So in 2 days, can you kind of explain like what it is, the name of it, where it's gonna be, and we'll get more into it. But
yes, of course. So this will be the Silk Project's third fashion show. It's going to be at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center, September 7th on a Saturday at 6 p.m. And it's going to be called The Dream Show. We're doing like a play off of dreams and nightmares. So if you want to come dressed as a nightmare, go for it. If you want to come dressed as a dream, whatever you think that is in your head. I'm really excited to see all the outfits, but aside from that, it's actually a fundraiser to help the Ruidoso fire relief.
So nice.
Yeah, it's going to it's Community Foundation of Southern New Mexico, Lincoln and Otero Fund. So they actually fund like everything whenever it comes to like emergency relief. Like whenever they have a natural disaster, they usually fund like finances. They help with like housing and development and stuff. So they do like every aspect like within a fundraiser. So like if your family needed money or you needed help rebuilding your property because you lost your house or something, they help with like every aspect. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to come because their like yearly gala is actually going to be that night. So I'm trying to get them to like do a collaboration video just to give people context on what they're donating to.
Right. Yeah, they're killing two birds with one stone that weekend. So I mean, that's cool. They're still, fundraising for like, it's still, from what I understand, it's still a disaster down there. They're still rebuilding and they're still trying to get their shit together. From what I understand, it's not great. Like one of my friends, she's born and raised down there, and her and her family, they have a trucking company that's based out of there. They go all around the state in the Southwest, but primarily down there. And they were telling me how, like, thankfully their house got saved. And I think it was literally the difference between, like, one of their fences being like made properly or not that like made the fire divert otherwise.
Crazy.
But the firefighter that was helping put out their fire at the house, I guess an hour or so beforehand, as he was helping other homes, he like had just gotten done watching his house burn down.
That is so awful.
As he was still going and like being a part of the relief. So that's cool that they're still helping out with that down there.
Yeah. Well, I never realized that after like a fire, it takes so many years. You would think that since like the government helps like fund fires for that it would be like up and running and like people would be good to go within a few months, but like it takes a long time for like those people to recover. So I just wanted to like shed some light and also give back to the community, because like I want to bring the community together, but also like show people like, hey, we also need to help the community out. Right.
Well, not to put the tinfoil hat on or anything, but that's also assuming the government's there to help the people. Right. So, well, that's why you see so many like grassroots, like lack of a better term, fundraisers or just community organizations that come in like, all right, well, the government apparently is still waiting for the check to clear, so we're gonna go ahead and like get our own money together, our own, like, what's his fucking name? The New Mexico TikTok, Johnny James, he had put together a GoFundMe. I guess they raised like north of like $70,000.
Wow, so, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's examples of that. Clearly the government's not gonna, you know, they're not exactly speeding up to help. Right. So it's cool that you guys are doing that. How did you get in contact with that organization?
Honestly, I really just looked up like a Ruidoso fire relief, and I called them and I was like, hey, I want you guys. Like, I honestly didn't really like do any kind of like collaboration with them. I just called them and I was like, I want you guys to be there, be like a guest of honor, and like I want you guys to see that we're trying to donate to you, you know? And they're like, we can't make it, but like, I hope you still donate. I'm like, of course we're going to donate. So I honestly just did my research and I was like, what's going to be the best like fundraiser to donate to? Right. Because there's a lot of GoFundMe's and stuff. But I just wanted to make sure like this one is like kind of like all inclusive and like covers all grounds. So I really just looked it up on the internet.
No, I mean, cool. No, I mean, good on you for doing that because so many people, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, they are the original sponsor of this podcast, and I could not be happier to continue to be working with these guys. I get it. It's New Mexico. Everyone loves red, green, both. But this genuinely is my favorite brand of chili here in the state of New Mexico, and I love being able to partner up with these guys. They are absolutely phenomenal. Zane and the rest of the team at Chop Chili do an amazing job running that company, and they make an absolutely phenomenal product. And right now, they are running a very special promotional on their Instagram. Go check them out on Instagram. Go give them a follow. And as they post pictures with the hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge, if you can guess where in New Mexico that picture was taken, you can win not only free red or green chili, but also a free custom t-shirt directly from the company themselves. Again, go check them out on Instagram, give them a follow, check out their hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge. Win yourself some free chili, win yourself some free shirts. They are also available in Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, and a ton of other grocery stores in the state of New Mexico, as well as El Paso, and they are expanding out to West Texas. Again, thank you so much to Zane and the rest of his amazing team over at Chop Chili. Back to the episode. I mean, it's a testament to most of our attention spans, but a lot of people just kind of forget that things happen, and not just people, but the government is comprised of people, and that's half the reason why they suck. But is calling a spade. But, you know, our attention spans are shot. And so a lot of people just kind of forget, like, what was it? The last major incident that happened just nationally that comes to mind was when, like, the trains derailed in, like, the northwest part of the it's in some city that's called East Palestine.
Okay.
And I forget what state it's in. That shows how shit my memory is. But basically what had happened was these trains, that it was like the worst case scenario, and I'm probably butchering some of these details, but these trains like derailed, and they were carrying these extremely toxic chemicals. Extremely toxic, and they derailed, fall over, explosions happens, fire happens, whatever. They clear the rubble and the damage, but the chemicals seep into the ground. Right. And I guess, and of course, this happens in a farming community. Oh my gosh. So now it's like they can't grow there. They
worst
can't.
Of the worst.
Yeah. But you know, where do you hear about that in the news? Or like years and years ago when the Flint, Michigan shit was happening with the water. Yeah. They still got fucked up water.
Yeah, they still do.
Nobody's fucking talking about that. So good on that. And I just bring all those examples up because, like, good on you for, like, asking, no, hey, I think their shit's still burnt down. So let's figure out how to, you know, divert resources and energy and just, like, awareness towards that. We're like, hey, that's we've got global issues, but we've still got this in our literally in our backyard.
Right.
And this isn't exactly announced yet, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say it yet, but Zach Abeda, he's a local comedian here in town, really fucking big. Oh, you know who he is? Cool.
Yes,
cool.
I know who he is.
Cool. Sick.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, sick. He booked me for a road gig. We're gonna go do stand up. Me, him, and Jake Otero. We're gonna go down to Ruidoso in October.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, in the Mountain Gods. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Yeah,
I'm actually going there this weekend.
Oh, sick! Nice.
Yeah, for their like rodeo. They have like I think in like annual rodeo. I don't know, maybe they do or not, but
yeah.
Me and my boss are going this weekend. So
I haven't been since I was like a little kid. But have you ever been to the hotel at all?
I've never been there at all.
Gorgeous.
I've never even been to Ruidoso, honestly.
What?
But yeah, I heard it's
gorgeous. Yeah. It's gorgeous, and especially in like, I mean, it's gorgeous all the time, but especially in the winter, because they like, it's one of the, it's like not as corny, but it's like you ever watch those or seen those like Hallmark movies where like it's the small town that dresses up for Christmas, and you know, you find your long lost love there, and your dog comes back, and they turn the village into that.
Really,
it's super pretty.
I'll have to go.
Yeah,
that sounds nice.
It's nice.
I've never been to the Inn of the Mountain God, so we're actually gonna stay there for the weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at High Desert Relief, a premier herbal destination right here in the state of New Mexico. They have extremely well-trained and knowledgeable staff that are more than happy to help you find what you're looking for or try something that you maybe have never thought of before. They have 2 locations right here in Albuquerque and a 3rd in Santa Fe. All 3 will be listed in the description of this episode below. All 3 locations offering legendary products at absolutely legendary prices, including this awesome merch that they were so kind enough to give me. They can be found at all 3 of the locations. Again, big thank you to all the people over at HDR. Back to the episode. I don't know if they have it anymore, but when I went a long time ago, they had a buffet, and it was based on like a bunch of different cultures. I forget. I think it's called Gathering of the Nations, and it's just like a bunch of different cultures, and it was fucking phenomenal.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little spot. But speaking of stand-up, real quick, you were at the April Fool's Live podcast.
Yes, good job, by the way.
Oh, do not gas me up like that. You watched me die up there.
No, I threw a couple giggles in there. They were genuine too. I can fake laugh, but I can also real laugh, you know?
Well, I would hope so.
But I was laughing at some of the stuff that you said.
Well, thank you.
Not all of it, but some of it. Well, I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, it was funny because like I watched, because AJ's my homie.
Yeah.
So he went up there and died. And I was watching him like, oh, fuck me. Okay. And I had just gotten done, like, not to brag, but I just gotten done up in Rio Rancho killing. Mm-hmm. I did really well in this really small room. The people,
right before?
Yeah, right before.
Sick.
And they all liked it. So I was like, okay.
You're on fire. You're hot.
The material works.
Yeah.
And then I get up there and just, because I've only been doing it for like a year. Yeah. And I'm not very comfortable yet when it comes to like crowd work and really like interacting that way, especially with that type of crowd that are like they're my age and they're very rowdy. Mm-hmm. And I come off, how do I put this? Like because how my voice projects and past experiences I've had and doing comedy, I can come off very asshole-ish when I don't mean to. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to completely lose the crowd by just going in on somebody, because there's people like talking and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I just haven't found like my stage personality yet to where it's like I can make fun of them and not come off like a prick. Mm-hmm. But the couple of crowd moments I did have got laughs, so I was just confused the whole time. I was like, okay, whatever. But then Tripp got up there and just fucking murdered. So he was really good.
Yeah, the last guy, he was really funny.
Yeah.
I was laughing like the whole time he went up.
Because I'd say right now there's like 35 or so like active comedians in town. And that's ranging from like brand new guys, not that great, bottom of the totem pole like me, and then you've got fucking killers like Zach Abeda and Buck D, and Tripp is like entering that upper threshold. Like he's in like the 4 to 5 comedians in town that like if they really pursue this professionally, which he's really like starting to go out of town and do stuff, they'll have a Netflix special.
Yeah,
they'll whoever the big streamer is in like 5 to 10 years, they're gonna have a special on there. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be those guys. So I'm glad he went and did that.
I mean, I don't know how, because you guys do like the comedy club, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been to those yet. I know you've invited me, and I've tried.
It's a cool little spot.
Yeah,
it's a cool little spot.
But I don't know if you guys do like a soundboard to kind of like play off of like the comedian, like you know how in like late night with Jimmy Fallon, like he has like a sound guy.
Yeah, I get you.
He's also like,
so some clubs will do that. I think it's really cool. Like, so me and AJ, we started to do shows at Safe House, monthly shows there, and we'll set up his laptop and because they have a killer sound system there, so we'll set up the laptop and we'll at a bare minimum, we will play comedians on and off with music that they choose, right? It adds a little more of the theatrics of it. It makes them feel a little more impactful. Like, oh shit, I have a walkout song. Like that's kind of cool. Dry Heat doesn't do that. I just gas that up so they don't do it. But they don't. Dry Heat's a cool club.
Yeah.
It's a cool little club. It only seats like, not only, but like, it seats like 60 to 70, maybe 75 if you want to do standing room.
Okay.
It's a cool little place. And then there's a comedy club up in Bernalillo called Casadas, and they have that. And I think they're still working the kinks out with their audio system, but it's a cool little spot down. It's off of 2nd and Gold. It's a cool little place, and
Nice.
it's real. And they're running a good operation down there. Like they're letting a lot of local comedians get time and work out their shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's cool. You guys got a taste of stand up, but yeah, that was a rough fuck. And it was funny. Is I got off stage and I was like, well, this is because Trip. I mean, the first thing he said when he got up there, he hit the nail right on the head. He was like, "You guys are here for a podcast, and we're the ads in front of the podcast. You guys where's the fucking skip button?" So I was like, "Oh yeah, this is a podcast setting. I could have filled my time with funny stories, not just quick little bits." Fuck.
Yeah.
So next, it's just all about learning and shit like that.
It was definitely entertaining.
That's cool.
I will say that. I was
okay, cool.
entertained.
As
so-
long as it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm cringing from secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as you're entertained. That's all that matters.
I thought AJ and you guys did good. That was like the first time I had ever seen you live and him live too.
Yeah.
So I thought you guys did good.
Cool. We'll walk away with that. But to your event, you're basing it off of the idea of dreams. Well, before we get into your event, because I know you explained this a little bit the first time you came on, but Silk Project itself, what is that? How did you come up with it, and what's like the intentionality behind it?
So I mean, the direction I'm going with it right now is basically, I mean, and as far as I've come, like doing events with Silk, it's really just to like inspire people and create that bigger community of like getting other people to New Mexico to see the Silk Project and what Albuquerque has to offer. Because essentially, like, our population's getting bigger. There's people from LA, there's people from New York, there's people from like Chicago that are moving here to New Mexico. And eventually there's going to be transplants trying to take over the entertainment industry of Albuquerque. So it's like we might as well start home base and expand that way, you know?
It's smart.
So give people a reason to actually come to New Mexico and like, not like, oh, this person's throwing events. Yeah, they're from LA. Like, that's cool and all. Like, that's cool from being LA. But also, like, we have to remember, like, who we are, you know?
Well, I agree. And that shit's going to get snuffed out real quick. Like, because we are a liberal city and we're a very liberal state. Mm-hmm. But there's like a undertow of like, who the fuck are you again? Yeah. You know, that kind of thing. So, and especially now with like Netflix, they're expanding like crazy.
For sure.
Like they just added, I think, an extra $200 million to their project. And it's, in my opinion, it is no coincidence that a week and a half or so after they announced the expansion, all the highways go under construction.
Yeah.
So it's like,
what? I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That's not a coincidence. So I was like, okay, they need more lanes. This town is starting to grow. And and yeah, so the more homegrown stuff, the better. And what I would imagine, maybe this is wishful thinking, what I would imagine is projects like yours are going to get approached by people from outside coming in, and hopefully it's with good intentions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just don't let them change you.
Definitely not. I do want to try and take Silk Project out of state. So that way I can show people like, hey, like we're still over here, like Southwest, come visit us, or Midwest, whatever,
Southwest.
South?
Yeah, okay. Southwest. But no, you definitely can, because you guys, what you have is a platform at the end of the day, right? It's more of it's a showcase of like, hey, like you just said, this is everyone who's operating here. This is everyone who's creating cool things.
Right.
What I'm very curious about, because I was telling Nico this at the event like last week, 2 weeks ago. Granted, people really started filling in about like after the stand-up finished, so but they still had like before I left, so I had to actually leave there and go to Dry Heat to do a set. They had like 100 people or so by the time that event really was like rocking and rolling. And I told them, I was like, dude, most of the comics, actually every local comedian in the state, with the exception of like Buck D, Zachabeta, that's really it. Nobody can draw a crowd like you guys can. And I and I don't want to ask them about that. Like, how did you do it? It's not the time to ask, like, how did you do this? But I was like, be proud of yourself.
Yeah,
because we walked in, no, people are here. We don't. So it was like, no, dude, like when we walked in, there's maybe like 50, 60 people there. That's more than most comedians. And then as I started feeling, it's like, dude, like you guys have a bigger, like, come buy tickets, buy drinks audience than every other entertainer in the city. So good job. And then I see the footage from your events too, and you guys sell out all the fucking time. Like I saw a post on your story, or on the project story rather, like 4 or 5 days ago that your VIP already sold out.
It's front row.
Okay.
I actually have a front row area, and then I also have like a VIP, which is like basically another front row area, but that one just has like food and like it's blocked off.
Oh, okay, I see.
You get like a table too.
Okay,
so.
well, I saw something sold out.
Yeah.
For your event. How do you do your marketing? I gotta pick your brain about this.
Really? Okay, so paid ads I do, like I'm like not afraid to like spend $1 to get my ads up and running, and also let people know like, hey, this is going on this week, so and so. But it's really all about like personal like connection, inviting people like personally. Like I know if someone just sends me like a flyer, or someone posts a flyer, I'm like less likely to look at it. Also, I don't really look at Instagram that much, but if someone like DMs me and is like, hey, you should come to this, like that's also like something to think about too. I just finished today literally sending out like an invitation to like half of the Silk Project followers, because I'm like, I tried to get through all of them today, but there's just so many. But
that's a slight brag, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that is.
There's not really too many followers. There's like 1,800, which is a good amount, but it's not like crazy amount. But still, it was a lot to get through, and I just basically told everybody like, hey, like this is the date, this is what it's fundraising, and like come support. Like that's really what it's all about. Everybody who's involved in the show, they have to like reach out to their inner circle and be like, hey, you need to come and support me, and you need to buy a ticket, or else like I won't be able to participate. So that's like,
do you fucking hear that, local comedians? When you're invited to events, you should really promote it. That's all I'm saying.
If you're participating in something, why wouldn't you want your inner circle, your family, your friends, even your work? Honestly, your work is like a really big one, because you may not think people at work like you. And I think this all the time. Every time I work somewhere, I'm like, oh no, they don't like me. And then like they end up liking me, and I'm like, what the fuck? So really just marketing yourself, because if you don't advertise for yourself, no one else is going to. So
yeah.
And that's all about, it's all about like community too. Like if you're supporting me, you're supporting this other designer too. Like, and you're also supporting the fundraiser. So
I couldn't have put it any better. And I don't understand like the I don't know, like if you are participating in something, if you're performing in something, I think it's a better word for it. If you're performing, like you're putting time and effort into whatever it is you're doing, right? And you want to showcase it. You want to, in theory, you want to do good at it. You want to do well. You want to present yourself well. You want to be marketable and all that stuff. Why wouldn't you want people to show up and support you and be like, yeah, hey, that was pretty good, or whatever goes down? But like, don't you want people there?
I guess that I could also see it from the other side. It's like, oh, people don't want to like boast, like, oh, look at me. But it's like, when are you going to have another opportunity to be like, look at me, your wedding day? What? I can't even think about if you're like a singer, like a concert, like.
But how do you get to those concerts?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. How do you get to playing theaters? And I love Launchpad, but getting to play Launchpad.
Just putting yourself out there. Yeah. And it's like, if you can't put yourself out there, or you can't find like people to support like the Silk Project, or even like Albuquerque, because that's essentially what it is. Silk Project is Albuquerque. Like if you can't find people to support your own city, then like you shouldn't be like in it, you know? Like it's really just all about like supporting each other and just giving a helping hand. Like,
well, that's why I like what you're doing, and why I like the not, no pun intended, but the project. Like that's why I like what you're doing, because it's not just like, look at how cool I am. It's like, no, okay, I feel like I'm competent at these things, but I also know that there are a lot of other people in this city that are doing cool shit too, and they happen to be doing cool shit that I'm interested in. So look at this. You know what I mean? So it's and again, I haven't been to one yet, but the events itself, the way they're put together, it's well made.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Are you going to come
to
this one?
Well, I'm going to do my best. Provided I'm not booked for stand-up, I'm going to do my best.
You're booked all the time, huh? Booked and busy, huh?
Trying. Yeah.
That's good.
No, I love it. It's stand-up's a lot of fun. It's funny, like and I'm sure you see this with your events as well. It's like when you're putting these things together, it's the best way to get feedback on what you're doing. It's just instant like that. It's like you have this idea, you put it together, show it. Okay, do these people like it? Do they not like it? Like one thing I want to give you kudos on again was the when you came the first time, your like the physical media magazines that you have. Those are fucking well made.
Thank you.
Like I was skimming through that last episode we did, and yeah, they're like oversized, they're big, and they're like not just like paper, they're like cardstock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like very professionally made, well made, and again highlighting a lot of really like rising, I wouldn't say prominent, but like rising, and some prominent creators here in Albuquerque. But back to the marketing. So you're putting out Facebook and Instagram ads. Do you see like actual returns on those? Because I used to do them for the podcast, and it was hit or miss. But I hear other people do it for their stuff, and it really works for them.
You know, so I could not tell you. I really don't know. I see the impressions. I see how many people it reaches. I see how many like link clicks it gets. I'm not too sure. I want to believe that that I'm not just wasting my money on that, you know. But I think so, because I mean I see other people promote their like I saw Astral. I don't know if they put out an ad. I think they did put out an ad, but I kept seeing it like over and over again, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing it, so like someone else has to be seeing it too. But I always take that into consideration, like other people who promote their ads and how many times I'm seeing it, you know. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind, or I'm interested in that, you know.
Yeah, I see their stuff a lot too, and then I see stuff from Frankie from Home Today too. I see a lot of his shit around. So whatever he's fucking doing, he's got it down. Like not what, but like who's gonna be? Are there any like prominent like featured people that you're gonna be showcasing this weekend?
So we actually have 9 designers. This is like the biggest. This is like so many people that I've like ever had to like manage, I guess, before. But there's about like 80 participants. Maybe actually I take it back. There's like 85, almost 100. And
are those designers or models?
Designers and models. I have a show director. I have a manager director. I have a model director, not a manager director.
You got managers for the managers and shit.
Literally. And then I have my assistant director too. And then also I have like 3 photographers and then 2 videographers because I want a lot of coverage. But also going back to the publication, thank you. I appreciate that. Shout out to Aldrin, Advent Studios, for doing like all of the graphic design for it. He does all my logos, all my flyers, like everything. So shout out to Al. He does a great job. But aside from the point, I'm trying to get so much coverage for this event because I'm actually coming out with another publication. And so this is the content that I'm getting from this event is going to be in this next publication.
Nice.
So. And
it's going to be, I'd imagine, based around the idea of dreams and nightmares and all that.
Yes.
So what made you choose that specifically?
Well, I kind of went back and forth with a theme. I was like, all right, what are people going to want to go to? What's like appealing to men and women and non-binary people, you know, like what is going to catch their eye? And I was going to say... I was going to do, or I had a few different ideas, but I was going to do, and then I was like, maybe I'll save that for another time. Actually, can you censor that name out?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'll keep. So I did have a few ideas, but I came down to the dream idea because I wanted to do something like more ethereal. Like I really wanted the audience to kind of get into it and be like, like how can I dress up for this theme? Like what am I gonna see in my dream? You know, like is it gonna be scary? Is it gonna be like beautiful? Like I kind of want the two like worlds to collide, and I like the idea of like forces of nature, like opposing against each other. Like I like good and bad, and like yeah, I was planning to do a Gemini show in June, but it didn't happen. So I was like,
what were the roadblocks?
It just didn't happen. I have a lot of ideas. Some of them are hit. Some of them I don't work on. Some of them I keep in the back of my head for like years to come. But yeah, so Simona, she's actually a designer for Chula Punk. She was like, why don't we go with the dreamy theme? And I was like, that's a good idea. So she actually helped me come up with the idea for the theme of the show. And yeah. But for as far as the designers, we have Ameti Fashion, Baby Mommy, Trey Dove, I'm missing a few, Jericho, JS, Chula Punk.
You can pull out your phone. I don't give a fuck.
I'm like, I don't want to miss them and then them be like, phone. Hey, you forgot my name.
Yeah. Those are, I gotta say this, and this is not throwing shade. Those are some of the most New Mexican sounding names I've ever heard in my life.
I love that.
I love it. No, I love that. It's authentic.
Tan House and Yamstress. And Coyote. Yes. Yams has been in 2 of my shows. This will be the second one. Or 2 of the Silk Project shows. It's Amity Fashion's first show. Baby Mommy's first show. JS's first show, and Jericho has actually been in the show, like he's been in all 3 shows, like modeling, designing, so he's awesome. Shout out to Jericho. And he doesn't even live here, and he's like still trying to coordinate, so I appreciate like all of these designers like dedication to getting it popping. So yeah, it's really just all about like coming together and being like, hey, like we need to like work on reaching a bigger audience, because that's exactly what it is. That's what we're trying to do.
And are there, when you're booking these guys and you're getting them all together for this, is there like a set of expectations, like a standard that you set from like, hey, this is what we're going for, this is what I'm looking for you guys to produce, or is it kind of just like, hey, here's the theme, run with it?
That's exactly how I let them. I give them a lot of like creative free range. So I just tell them a theme like, hey, like if you can produce this many looks, cool. If you can't, just let me know, and then like we'll go from there. Okay. But yeah, I give them like a lot of like creative
license.
Yeah, basically to just do whatever they want, because I don't want them to be like restricted and be like, okay, well this is not how I want to showcase my art, you know?
Right.
So
no, that makes perfect sense. That's an interesting theme. I've been trying to figure out like the least corniest way to ask you this question. Like, but what is your dream? Like, do you have like you obviously have aspirations. So it's not to ask you that, because the easy answer is yes. But I guess it's like what, like, because there's a difference between dream and fantasy, and I think what separates the 2 is hard work and actually like putting it into action, actually doing things. So like, oh yeah, I wanna be a fashion designer. I want to be a actor. I want to be a musician, be a whatever. Well, you can think about that all you want, but eventually, and unfortunately, the killer of that is time. You know, as life moves forward, it slowly slips from a dream or an aspiration that can happen into like a fantasy, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Right. Oh well, now I'm on my deathbed, and it's like, fuck. Yeah. That sucks. Could have been cool, but oh well. Do you have do you have any of that kind of sits with you where it's like, yeah, I really want to, or I'm working towards like the thing?
Yeah, so the thing that I'm working towards is really just like event coordination, specifically fashion shows. That's what I want to do. Like designing is cool. I did it the second time. It was cool. It was really stressful. But
what made it stressful?
Just like, I don't really know. It was just stressful altogether. It just gets stressful like altogether.
What was it like when you're talking about designing, is it like putting concepts together for, like, again, I am so fucking ignorant to this, but like, is it like concepts for outfits? Is it like getting the right person to style things for you, to model things for you?
For me personally, it's concept and what's gonna appeal to the masses. You know, like what are people gonna like, and essentially like, am I gonna like it truly if I'm making it for other people? But I guess it was just, since I was coordinating that last show and I was also designing too, like I was just like, I think I was just putting too much pressure on myself.
Yeah, you're spreading yourself a little too thin.
Yeah, for sure. But essentially that's the goal. I want to throw a fashion show in like Milan one day. That's my like goal. I could rest and die after that.
Is your like family from that area, or is that, or that place just like appeal to you?
It's just appealing to me.
Yeah, nice.
Like,
no, fair enough.
Yeah. But eventually I want to throw a fashion show like in all big cities, and just like I want people to know the name, I want people to work with me, not even if they don't know the name. I want like different brands to like recruit me and be like, hey, I thought your event was sick, throw an event for me. That's how I want it to be advertised. Like I just want it to be a brand where people can like basically white label me and be like, hey, this is my event, but also it was done by the Silk Project.
Right.
So.
No, that's dope. I mean, no, it's cool that you're going out, you're doing stuff like that for yourself, and that you're like yourself, like you're putting it together. You also need a lot of help doing it, and it takes a fucking village to do shit that you're doing.
It really does.
But to actually, what made you? I guess let's go back to the first one, the first event you put together. What made you take the leap to actually try it? Because it's not like you just. Maybe I think I'm funny. I might go to an open mic, or I think I can sing. I'm going to go to an open mic, or, I think I'm pretty, so I'm going to hire some local photographer and I'm going to put a thing on Instagram and see what happens. Like, no, I'm going to put an event together. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, you know what? And I can answer that question, honestly. I don't know if I said this on the last pod, but when I was in high school, I threw a house party. It was my sister's 21st birthday. And
I was really good at getting people fucked up.
And I was 17. I was a junior in high school. And my family, they were leaving out of town. They were like, yeah, we're going to go celebrate in Vegas. Like, you can come, obviously. Like, you can, but you're not going to be able to do shit. And so I was like, okay. So I asked my parents, I was like, yo, can I throw a house party? Like, can I just throw a house party? I didn't tell them it was going to be big or small. And I was like, dude, it'll be chill. I was like, I'll even have grandma there, because my grandma was living with us at the time. I was like, I'll even have my grandma there. It'll be fine. Like, it'll be all chill. I was like, I'll even ask the neighbors. I fucking asked the neighbors. I was like,
this is the plot to Project X, by the way.
Deadass.
When they went to their neighbors' houses and they were like, hey, what's up? My name's Costa.
No,
I was going to let you know we're going to throw in a little soiree.
Dude, I was so dumb. I literally sent out, this was when back in the day, how Instagram wouldn't let you do a group message for more than 10 people in one message.
Right.
So I sent out like a good 10 of those. I was like, yo, house party, random fucking people. I don't even know. They followed me on Instagram, went to different high schools. Also, this was middle of November, so it's fucking cold outside. And I was like, I'm just going to keep everyone outside because my backyard was big. It was in Taylor Ranch. And that place was fucking packed. There was mad people, and I had fire pits outside because it was cold. And I was like looking around, and I was like, there's people in the house. I was like, people can't be in the house. My grandma's talking to people. My grandma's she's like in the kitchen, like vibing with people.
She's doing body shots and shit.
Dude, go to your room. Like, what are you doing out here? And like, I have my cousin texting me. She's like, do you want me to go pick up grandma? And then my grandma's like, the cops are coming. And I'm like, I don't know why I ever believed her. But, the cops did not come, and
they don't give a fuck about Taylor Ranch.
And I had to tell people
they're busy policing the South Valley.
Yeah, exactly. I had to tell everyone to get the fuck out, and they all left. But there was a point in the middle of the party where I saw like 3 fire pits, and I was like, this looks like not good. There's too many people here. It looks like people are like homeless because they were all like warming up by the fire. But after everybody left, I was like, damn, that shit was lit. And everybody talked about it. They were like, hey, like, that was your party. Like, that was cool. And then, years go by, and like, I threw another, like, I hope I don't get criticized for this, but I threw another like birthday party during the pandemic.
Oh, who gives a fuck? Oh, okay, listen. The people,
I was one of those people.
No, fuck them. Okay, first of all, super spreader events, go fuck yourself, first of all. Second of all, if you're, bless you, if you are someone that gets mad at people for gathering during the pandemic in 2024, you're the same fucking moron that wears a mask in their car still. You'll walk around Target wearing a mask. You're an idiot.
It was tough. It was tough that time, okay? And I told
but that doesn't give you free reign to be a retard. Like, I'm sorry, but no. In the truest sense of the word, your brain is not functioning properly if you think that super spreader events were the reason that the pandemic was so bad. Like, I'm sorry, but it's a respiratory virus. Like, get fucked. Anyway, so you throw your little event.
I throw a small gathering is what I told my parents, because I was like, I'm going to use your backyard, you know? And there was like a bunch of people came. There was like at least 50 or 60 people, and I did not expect that. And then, after that, I was just like, I really know how to bring people together. So after all those parties, there's honestly many more. Like, I've thrown like an ass and titties party with my best friends at her house during the pandemic.
Okay, so that's a super spreader event, ladies and gentlemen. And
you can delete that clip.
And that's no pun intended on spread either. Jesus Christ.
I really came down to it, and I was like, I know how to bring people together, and I know how to throw a fucking party. So I might as well throw a fashion show. And like, I've always wanted to go to a fashion show, first of all, in Albuquerque. And just like, you know, when you see like movies based in New York and they have like a book opening or like a book signing or like something they're releasing, and they have like a cocktail party, and there's like high tops everywhere, and like everybody's getting handed drinks and like little appetizers.
Yeah.
I wanted something just like that, but something for our age group, because it's like, I'm sure there's other things that people can do in Albuquerque, but they're, no offense, like 37 and up club, and it's like a 21-year-old is not going to want to go to that.
Well, it's that, and then, you know, Albuquerque has this thing about about the culture of the city, and maybe it's the whole state of New Mexico, but like, and this is nothing new, but we just seem to be 10 to 15 years behind Phoenix, Colorado. We're a few decades behind Austin, but you know, it is what it is. And so, and in those events you're describing where it's like very fancy and, you know, like movie-esque, those happen in Albuquerque, but they happen at private residences in high desert and up in the foothills, or foothills rather, or they happen in Santa Fe, and same thing in private residences.
And you don't know about them.
And because they don't, and not for nothing, but they don't want dumbass 21-year-olds running around there drinking all the champagne, getting high as fuck in the bathrooms, you know.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? But I understand the want to, like, again, just because those events are being held for like full-fledged, fully grown, brain is working adults doesn't mean that, well, you know what I mean. Do you remember you at 21? I remember me at 21. My brain did not work. But you know, it's not wrong for young 20-year-olds to want to do something like that and to try something like that, or at least be a part of something like that. Because again, and I think Albuquerque's still going through growing pains right now, where it's like live events and entertainment that doesn't get bogged down by, crime.
Right.
Quite frankly, last weekend we had a shooting downtown that everybody's talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and quite frankly, the only reason I even found out about that shooting is because it happened on, I think, Saturday night, right? Because Sunday I'm here working on a podcast. My girlfriend comes over and she goes, "Hey, you remember my friend?" No. Yeah. She goes, "Yeah, she got grazed by a bullet last night." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking?" And
that's crazy.
And yeah, like she was. Like, I don't think it was her. I can't. For being a podcaster, I'm a very shitty listener sometimes. My memory sucks. But I started smoking weed like since I got out of the military. My memory's just gone.
It's all good.
But anyway, I don't know if it was her friends that ended up passing away or people that she was around got passed away. But yeah, she caught around to the forehead and like this. Because it just grazed her, and so like all of this was like, it looked like a red piece of tape where the skin got ripped off.
She's about to be scarred forever.
Yeah, no,
but
for real.
That's like, at least it wasn't her. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, no, and not to, I know it's a very hot topic thing right now, or at least it was, but it's one of those things like, where like with Trump, like if his head just kind of went like that, or no, if it went like that, it would have hit right there. If she had just like, because it grazed her here, if she just stepped forward, boom, there you go, right?
That's insane.
But people think about that, and you know, because a lot of the events that I go to, a lot of the comedy shows that I go to, and well, actually all of them, with the exception of Casados up in Bernalillo, but all the comedy shows that I go to, Dry Heat's downtown, Safe Houses downtown, all the open mics with the exception of Lizard Tail and Slice Parlor are downtown, but even then they're in Nob Hill, so they're not far removed. They're just a hop and a skip down there. And when I invite people, you know, I'm like, hey, this comedy thing's happening, this is happening, whatever. I always have that in the back of my head where it's like, are they not coming because they don't? Cause it's very real. They don't give a fuck about local comedy. Like, that's fine. I understand that. Or is it the crime? You know what I mean? And that's why I find fascinating about what you're doing is like you guys, granted, yours is happening, you said at the beginning of the episode, but at the Indian Cultural Center?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So, still not a great part of town, but like it's better than fucking downtown.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, people are, I mean, Albuquerque, if shit doesn't turn around, you know, it's the type of city where people, they get afraid to go out past 9 or 10 p.m.
Yeah,
And,
I feel that.
And for decent reason. You know what I mean? For decent fucking reason.
100%. I used to go out like religiously, but also I know that there's like a certain crowd of people, which is nothing wrong with that, but there's a certain crowd of people that go downtown and it's really to party. And it's like, I do like to stay away from downtown, like as far as like throwing events there.
Yeah.
Just because like I want to get away from that crowd that just wants to get fucked up, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm looking for an audience that really truly likes fine art. Like they want to party like an adult.
And I just want to say, it's not pretentious for you to say that, because I'm sure people are going to hear that and be like, oh, she thinks she's fucking better than us. Like, no, people want to have a good time without a gun getting pulled out.
I used to go downtown all the time, and sometimes I even want to go down. Sometimes I'm like, let's bullshit,
and that's fine too, and it's totally fine too.
But that's not the night that I'm doing that.
Exactly, and even when you do go downtown to get fucked up, is that not in the back of your head where you're like, is tonight the night? Is your head, if you're smart, your head's probably on a swivel and you're looking around a little bit. Like, is everyone cool? Are we cool?
Luckily, I know when it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Like, luckily, I'm like, all right,
1:15.
Yeah.
That's usually it. 1:15 to 1:30 is usually the like, all right, vampires are coming out after this. We gotta, it's time to run.
Gremlin time for sure.
Gremlin time.
I'm like, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
They're all falling out of FX.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, yeah, no. But I mean, yeah, it's like there's partying downtown. Maybe not every night, but every weekend. It's the same shit. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. But the weekend of the 7th, something different is happening. Yeah. So, like, get dressed up, put on your best outfit, and come. Like, it's going to be sick. You're going to meet cool people, cool, creative people. You're going to meet bad bitches, you know? Like, and I always tell people, they're like, oh, no, like, I'm not going to go to that. I'm like, okay, if you don't want to be around bad bitches, like, I don't think that this is the place for you, because there's going to be some baddies coming through.
That's funny.
So I'm like, be on your best behavior, too, and dress up like you're going to be well behaved.
No, that's cool. And having that change of culture, even if it's not just one event, but like even just one event on one weekend, it starts a ripple effect. Mm-hmm. People show up. I mean, you really don't know who's going to show up to that, like in a positive way. You don't know who's going to show up to that. So people could show up that have maybe a little bit of money in their back pocket. Mm-hmm. Or people like you, they're like, hey, wait, this can happen in Albuquerque. Mm-hmm. I want to do something like this. Or I want to get involved with what she's doing. Mm-hmm. So it's a net positive. For sure. It's a net positive for sure. And then putting an emphasis, like you did a little bit earlier, on, the people that you're inviting and having them invite their people. You're putting a lot of trust in them that they're inviting, I want to say quality people, but like people that are there for the right intentions, right? Because who's there to judge? I mean, anyone can judge quality, but like, you can judge good intentions. Right. So people that are showing up that have the right intentions, that are there to like have a good time, promote or elevate what you're doing and make it a, again, I hate saying the word or the term safe space, but it's a safe space for this type of shit to flourish. It
really is, though, and like I'm glad you said that, because that's really what I wanted it to originally be, just like a safe, creative hub for people to like network genuinely with each other, like not on anything fake, and just, hey, like, that's sick that you did this fashion show. Like, come work with me. Like, let's work. Let's just work.
Yeah. And in the age of social media being so ingrained in our lives, the fact that you're having a lot of photographers there and you're having videographers there, that means not just yourself as the creator and the promoter of the show or producer of the show, all these other people that are performing there, they're now going to be able to have content put on their platforms should they so choose, which, I mean, obviously they should, but, they're going to be able to have the opportunity to say, like, hey, look what I did and look what I performed or was a part of this week or this past weekend, and now they get to broadcast themselves, and they're like, I can do cool shit too.
It's gonna be exciting.
Has fashion always been like a part of you as a person? Like, is this what you've been into since you're like what did you want to? What did you dream of when you were a little kid?
I definitely. My grandma used to make me little outfits, and I used to like model for her and my grandpa, and they would like clap for me. So like I always loved like, I mean, fashion obviously, and then also like fashion shows. Like I just think they look really cool. Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to be part of a fashion show? If you don't, then that's fine. You know, not your cup of tea. But it always has been like, oh, like I want to be around cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a bad explanation. But
No, I mean that's cool that it was something that was not necessarily ingrained in you as a kid, but it was something that is clearly what you were into, and you were in an environment where that could like flourish and come out. Where I was like, no, take the fucking dress off. What are you doing? You're 5 years old. Stop it. No, it's like, hey, yeah, no, we have look at our little angel.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. Is Albuquerque a place you see yourself staying in long term? You talked a little bit earlier about taking this out and you know really branching out and doing things like that. But as far as you, like, where do you see yourself going with all of this?
I have been traveling a lot within this past year, and I want to continue traveling. Personally, I haven't found a place where I'm like that I visited where I'm like, dang, I need to move here. Like, I need to move here, you know, or like, I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable. I could live here. Because anywhere I visit, I'm like, I put myself in that position. I'm like, could I picture myself living here? And most of the time, it's no. So, I mean, regardless, I hate having allergies here. It's the worst. Like, and that's how I know living in New Mexico is like not going to be sustainable for me in the long run because like my allergies
sneezing.
will kill me. Yeah, literally. But I love New Mexico and I love Albuquerque. It's always going to be home. I know eventually I'm going to have to spread my wings and branch out. But it is always going to be a hub for me to always come back. So, if I do want to move somewhere, I don't think it's going to be like somewhere permanent. Like, I think this is my permanent place. And if I want to go travel somewhere for like maybe 6 months out of the year, then like I'm going to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
But I'm always going to want to come back here.
Well, Albuquerque, especially if it's like, again, I know we just got done talking a little shit about it, but I do think it's in the upswing. It has the potential to be in the upswing at least.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? With all the industry that's coming into town and stuff like that and the way that we're expanding. Albuquerque is not a bad place to be in if you are in the entertainment industry. And because, I mean, so if you don't want to, I don't like flying personally. So I like driving. I like being in control of my own shit, you know. So and also just sitting in a fucking seat just like this.
I hate flying too.
I'm just like, can we fucking get out of this? And the army fucked up my knees, so just sitting like that for my knees start to lock up. And I'm like, fuck, can we just not? But Denver's 8 hours or 6 to 8 hours that way. Austin's 10 hours that way. And even if you want to fly, it's like what, hour and a half up that way. 2 hours that way. Mm-hmm. Phoenix is 2 hours that way. LA is 2 hours that way too.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works out, but it is. You know, it's right there. And then I feel like I've heard that Seattle's a big place for like fashion. Is that true?
I couldn't tell you. I've actually never visited there.
Yeah, I don't know why that's coming to mind, but something in the back of my head's saying Seattle. But this is a good hub to be in. And then obviously it kind of bars off the East Coast. When that time comes, you'll be there for a reason. My point is like where you are now, this is a good place to expand out. And that's honestly, credit where it's due. That's good advice that I got from Zach. Because he was like, yeah, you know, I was thinking about leaving. We had this conversation a while back. So I was thinking about leaving, but Albuquerque's growing, got a comedy club, Denver's right there, Austin's right there. I'm going to stick around and see what happens. Yeah. So it's not a bad place to, and because entertainment here is growing, I think you get through a lot of your growing pains here rather than going in because, you know, you can either be a small to medium-sized fish in a big-ish pond, or if you're like, fuck it, I'm going to move to wherever, like Austin, Phoenix, LA, wherever, and you go out to these giant cities, now you're a tadpole in an ocean where nobody gives a fuck about you.
No one knows you.
No one knows you. No one cares. So at least you can build your brand here, build your name here.
That's like the best part about New Mexico is like somebody knows somebody, and it's like, oh, look, you need this, I have a guy for that. You need that, oh, I have my cousin does that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the best part about it, and like just using your own resources.
Yes, and people that are, at least from what I've found, I've been very fortunate in this respect. People that are in the entertainment industry, 9 times out of 10, they are willing to help. If they can, again, intentions. If they can tell that you're doing this for the right reasons and you have your heart's in the right place, maybe you don't have all the money, maybe you don't have all the equipment, maybe you don't have all the skill. You just don't have the experience yet, but they can tell that, like, oh no, she's doing this cool thing. She wants to do it. She has a track record of doing what she's doing. Let's help her out. A lot of that's here. It's very like you said, like everybody knows everybody. I feel it's very tough. It's a good process to go through, but it's a bit challenging to build a reputation. It's a bit challenging to get your name out there, really get people to understand like who you are and what you're about, what you're doing. And like I said earlier, not just your name, but if not your name, your platform. But on the flip side, it's very easy to get a bad reputation. Yes,
definitely.
It is because everybody knows everybody. And if you don't know this person, you know somebody that does. Right. And again, how do I word this? Like, who do you surround yourself with so that you can, because whether you consciously recognize it or not, and I think you do, in a healthy way, just from the way you carry yourself and the way that you promote your brand, it's very obvious to me that you care about your image and that you care about your reputation. Who do you surround yourself with so that you can maintain that?
So like we were talking about earlier, it's all based on intention. Like if I don't have a good feeling with you, and it's all about interaction, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if I felt like you were like a weirdo in some like slight way, I probably wouldn't be here. So it's really
thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I love comic books, and I try not to come off as too much of a dork, but
You're not at all. It's cool. It's cool having your own personality. Yeah. But
no, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's being a creep.
It's really just like all about like what kind of vibe, I hate saying that word, but what kind of vibe are you picking up on a person? Like
energy is real.
Yeah. It really
you can tell when people are, and I'm sure you've experienced this, especially at one of your events. I'm sure you've experienced where someone even just comes up to you and goes, hey, listen, what you put together here is fucking awesome. Good job. Where there's like, oh, hey, thank you. That's awesome that you said that. As opposed to like, hey, listen, what you put together here is awesome. And then enter all the bullshit. Okay, what are you going to pitch me? What are you trying to do? What do you want to change about this? What do you want from me? Yeah. I'm sure you can tell that like that.
I really can't, actually.
Oh, shit. Well, learn. Learn.
Right off the bat, during my events, I can't. I figure it out after my events. It's like how people treat me after my events. Like, and I have a really good memory. Like, I may not remember your name, but I will remember a face, and I will remember how you treat me.
People won't remember who you are. They remember how you made them feel.
Exactly. And so that's also like something that is ingrained in my mind is like, okay, I'm just going to be nice to everybody and not really, I'm going to be a little demure, but
it's not a real word. I refuse to admit that that's a real word.
It totally is, but I said I wasn't going to use it. But after my events, I really like to just figure out who that person's going to tell me who they are. Like, I don't like to do much of the talking, and I really just want to hear what they have to say, because like I can't notice the faking funk like right then and there. I really don't have that great of judgment sometimes with fake people, because I'm like, I don't know if they're being fake or not. It's usually the second interaction that I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't like that person at all. They're fake. Okay.
Well, you find out sooner than some people, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you're unfortunately, for all the positive you're gonna run into, continue to do this kind of stuff. And again, it's and I don't mean this in a disparaging type of way, but and this is in every aspect of the entertainment industry, but I feel like especially because of the nature of fashion and stuff like that, it is literally all vanity. It is vanity. It is, yeah. And I mean, I haven't seen it in years, but I'd imagine there's a lot of truth to the Devil Wears Prada. You know what I mean? There's a lot of truth to how cutthroat that industry is at the very top. Now, granted, you can find that everywhere, But, for the purpose of this conversation, and just especially with fashion, it's people that are obsessed with how something looks. How does it translate? How do people look at it with first impression, I guess? You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, how do they feel about me? Do I fit into my own outfits? Do they fit into these? Oh, they're not up to my standard. Oh, you fat piece of shit. And then it just rolls down into this, psychotic thing. And then, again, it's all like... I think networking events are good, but again, with the wrong intention, it's just all like, what can I get out of these people with the least amount of reciprocation from me? Because it's all about me, that type of stuff. One thing I want to ask you about before we finish is the second part of the equation for your event is nightmares. What do you have when it comes to fashion and like nightmarish stuff? What comes to your mind when that's a concept? Like, how would you translate that into, like, an outfit? Or, like, is it the way the person goes down the runway? Or is it, like, colors? Is it... Cause obviously, like, when I think about that, it's, like black, obviously. But, I'm not very in tune with all this kind of stuff. So, what do you kind of vision when it comes to, like, the nightmare side of things?
On, like, stuff that I would, like, expect for people to come in nightmares? Or, like, my actual fashion nightmare in my head that I, like...
Well, let's say like, I mean, I don't feel like I articulated that properly. Like if you were not necessarily expectations, but like, let's say you were creating like a dress or an outfit or a style that you would like to see down the runway, and the key concept behind it was nightmare. What kind of comes to your brain for that?
Like sleep paralysis demon,
Shit.
I will say that Ameti fashion has like something along the lines of that, just kind of like more scarier vibe.
How the fuck do you translate? I would love to see pictures of that.
You'll definitely have to come. You'll definitely have to witness it. How do you translate
sleep? Have you experienced sleep paralysis?
Actually, no. But
that's wild shit.
I have not.
Luckily. I had a lot of that when I was on a deployment.
Really?
Oh,
that
yeah.
sounds awful.
It's
but
not
I'm
fun.
sure it's like also like your environment too, of like what's going on.
Well, I mean, people have it in a bunch of different types of. I mean, mine was kind of onset by some medication the Army was giving me.
Oh, dang.
Oh yeah, fun times. Oh yeah, oh yeah, fun times. But yeah, it's literally like you wake up and you're like, okay, I know I should be sleeping, but you're in this weird state between like sleep and awake. And then, I mean, I don't know how much you've looked into sleep paralysis, but a lot of people talk about like seeing like shadow figures.
Yeah.
100% real.
People.
I remember very, very clearly. I was laying, we had these like little like, they're basically like twin bed size like bunks that we had. Because where we were staying on this airfield for the most of the time out there, you've seen it in movies where it's like the half shell, like tan tents that the military uses. So we were in those, and I remember waking up when I had gone to bed for the night, and I was laying, and I wake up and I'm in like sleep paralysis, and I remember very clearly like laying like this, I can't move, and then if this is like my bed. Like right here and then here, just shadows coming over like that, and I'm just like,
and like you can't scream or anything. Yeah. Like that sounds awful. I've seen like shows and like movies based on it, but yeah, no, it's not happened to me.
Wild times. Yeah. What? It's just an interesting concept for a style. Yeah. I guess. It's funny. It's like, do you smoke at all?
I used to a lot. Used to? Yeah.
Did your dreams ever change between like when you were like sleepy or whenever you're smoking or not smoking?
Yeah, for sure. I have like dreams all the time that I can just vividly remember. But whenever I was smoking, I never remembered any of my dreams.
Me neither.
So
I ran out of weed like 5 days ago, and I'm starting to remember dreams now. But whenever
what the fuck, was that real?
Yeah. But when I was smoking, I literally just smoked myself to sleep and just crashed. I'm like, oh, I guess I just teleported to daytime now.
Yeah.
This might be a weird subject to end on, but are recurring nightmares a thing for you?
Yeah.
Are they like tellable?
Yeah. One time, okay, there was like a straight like week in my life, like, and this was like a few months ago, where I would have this dream that someone random, I don't know who it is, and it's not like the same setting, it's like different people each time, but they're trying to like blank me and kill me and like slaughter me. And then I have to slaughter them first before they get like to defend myself and like to survive. And that's how I wake up after I'm done slaughtering them. It's awful. Cause like I don't like blood and like it's just not a thing for me.
Yeah.
I'm not really the violent type. I hope people don't think I'm
you don't
like that.
You don't give off the vicious nature, let's put it that way.
I'm fighting for my life in these dreams. Like no, physically fighting,
Jesus.
like with like an axe, sometimes a knife. Like they're intense. But I haven't had those dreams for a really long time, so thank God.
Well, that's good.
But I don't know what was going on in my life at the time where like I was just like so like stressed out, maybe high strung, and like just dreaming about like something that's gonna get me and like take me.
Yeah, I'd imagine, like, again, I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or anything like that, but I would imagine, like, high stress could add to that. Do you, like, and it might be a very stupid question, do you like watching horror movies a lot?
I do, and I wasn't watching any horror movies in that time.
Well, because I asked that because I remember reading something about how if you have a recurring nightmare, like, for instance, I remember reading something about how, like, if you are very stressed out and you're indulging in like violent material, your brain can subconsciously like attach the anxiety to that just to make it easier on itself, and
Makes
that can come
sense.
forward in like recurring nightmares. Like for instance, like in my own personal life, my father, not a very good person, but one of the things he did introduce me to was the Halloween franchise, and most of those movies are dog shit, but I love that.
Those movies.
I love those movies.
Yeah.
I love those movies. But so a lot of stress and anxiety, repressed stress and anxiety from when I was a kid. And then he also showed me those movies as a little kid. So then, like, growing up into high school, going to a military school for the first time, I was very stressed out there.
Yeah.
So whenever I would have nightmares at that school, it would always be of getting chased by Michael Myers.
Okay. Makes
Every
sense.
time. And then like 6 months.
Dang.
And then 6 months ago,
You're like, fuck this guy.
I went down this like rabbit hole on like dreams and nightmares and shit like 6-7 months ago, and I came across this article and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's real or not, but if it is, makes a lot of fucking sense.
That's why.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And there's always like stupid recurring dreams I just don't really make any sense of. Mm-hmm. Like I have one where I show back up to the military school that I went to in high school and college, but I'm the age, because I mean, aside from the first year, or the first part of the first year being stressful, I loved it there. Mm-hmm. Met a lot of great friends. A lot of my friends, most of my friends that I'm friends with today, we went to school together. Like my roommate, me and him went to school there.
Oh, nice.
But it's always like I come back to the school as me today,
Right.
and then none of my friends are there. And it's just a bunch of high school and like young college kids that are like faceless. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like this is not, yeah, it's always very strange.
That's random. Yeah.
But listen, this was a lot of fun.
Yes,
Loved having
thank
you
for
back.
having me.
And I mean it. Like I'm very excited for what you're doing. I think
Appreciate that.
I think what you're doing is a net positive for Albuquerque, and just like not just the entertainment itself, but I think about this a lot though, especially now that I've entered like the stand-up community here. I think about that as well. We're on the more blessed side of things because we have venues here that are letting us do shows for free. Like I don't have, me or AJ, we don't have to pay Safe House to use their venue on a Saturday night or a Friday night.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah, we don't have to pay them. The places that let the other comedians that host open mics, they don't pay the venue like, hey, can we use your space for an open mic? Mm-hmm. Now, granted, they're also very happy to have us because more people are buying liquor that night, buying beer, so the beer sales go up. But you know, it's positively symbiotic in that way. Mm-hmm. But I think about it for like musicians, like man, like they have like 2 open mics, I think maybe a week, and then it's like for people that are interested in fashion, like you're into, and the community that you're building, it's like, well, where do they go practice their stuff? Where do they collaborate with other people? That's a huge aspect of entertainment. It's a huge aspect of the creative process. You can't just sit alone and conceptualize and make things on your own. You got to meet other people that are into the same shit you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So what you're doing right now is a huge positive in that way.
Thank you.
So I'm really happy to see that it's growing and that it's continuing to branch out and do new things, and more people, not just returning people to help you do what you're doing, but new people are coming in. And like, oh shit, that was dope. So, and the fact that, because I mean, I think I'm correct in assuming this, like this is going to be a way bigger event than your second one, right?
Yes.
It just sounds like in the way that you're describing it. Mm-hmm. So I'm very happy for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Where, just one more time, when, where, and the attire?
Yes. So next weekend, Saturday, September 7th at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center, Dream Show, 6 p.m. Wear
Sweet.
your best formal outfit. The colors are going to be blue, black, white, and silver. And then we also have an after party that's going to be at Oak and Ivy. And there's going to be
Where's
performances. It's actually in Nob Hill.
Okay.
So it's where the old, I think is Yanni's, maybe that's where the old Yanni's is. But yeah, it's gonna be in Nob Hill. Check out the flyers, and we'll see you there.
Sweet. And where can people find you and then the project itself on social media?
They can find me on Instagram at the.silkproject. You can find me on my website, silk-project.com. I'm always willing to work with new designers, new models. You don't have to have, you could have little to no experience, and I'll still work with you as long as you're...
What's the best way to reach out to you to inquire?
Instagram or my email.
Sweet.
Which is on my website.
Sweet.
It doesn't matter. Reach out to me anywhere, and I will try my best to get back to you. But your best bet is the website or the Silk Project Instagram.
Sweet. Well, it's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
I am very excited to see your growth, and I'll do this again sometime. You're the shit.
Yes. I'm excited to see you as a comedian, too. Keep doing that. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Sweet. Cool.